Hey everybody, Dave Berman here from Fitness Revolution Bootcamps. In this short video I want to show you how you can avoid excessive weight gain over the Christmas period while still enjoying your favourite foods. Did you know that you can actually use your favourite foods over Christmas to help you lose weight? Okay, now I know that sounds almost too good to be true, but it is true. Okay, turkey dinners, crisps, chocolate, cakes, burgers, chips, whatever you want. If you eat these foods, you can actually use them to your advantage. You can actually use them to start triggering fat loss when done properly. Okay, here comes the science. By eating these types of foods at the right times, you can trick your body's metabolism and click it into fat burning overdrive. Now, the basic premise behind a lot of this is there is a hormone called leptin. Okay, and when you drastically reduce the number of calories that you eat, leptin levels drop. Leptin is a little hormone that sends a message to your brain that says, there's not a lot of food kicking around. Let's hold on to the body fat that we've got because we may need this as energy. Okay, so when you use cheat days, okay, or cheat meals, okay, so for example your Christmas dinner, your party night out, when you do them at the right times, they actually restore leptin levels to optimum levels, which primes your body for massive fat burning. Okay, so let's just look at it like this. Leptin levels have been reduced over the week because you have ate really clean, okay, and you haven't taken on as many calories as you should. Okay, your body is just about to start holding on to body fat. Okay, you have a cheat day or a cheat meal where you eat all of the foods that you want. Okay, leptin levels get restored back to normal and your body is now primed for massive fat loss. Okay, so that's pretty much how this process works, and I'm going to walk you through some tips and tricks. Some of them is about hormonal control and some of them is just simple tricks that you can use to really get the most out of this process. So first of all, I want to say now, what you feast on and when you feast on it does matter. Okay, and then here's a little disclaimer: you can't eat whatever you want all over Christmas, okay, and still expect to wear the same or lose body fat. It just ain't going to happen, okay? So don't think that you can, eat whatever you want and this stuff's going to work, okay? But there are some tips and tricks that you can use to, like I said, to help you maintain or even drop your weight over Christmas. So let's dive straight into them. Trick number one. First of all, I want you to feast on protein-based foods as much as possible. Protein is basically meat, fish, poultry, those types of foods. Okay, now the cool thing about protein, first of all, is when you eat protein, it fills you up more. Okay, so ultimately you will want to eat less of the other foods that trigger fat storage. So insulin is another hormone that's in the body, and it's one of the things that triggers fat storage. So if you create an insulin spike in your body, it actually triggers fat storage. Now, carbs, excessive carbs, trigger insulin. Okay, protein will help you regulate that insulin so that your body isn't triggered into fat storage. Okay, so ultimately the carbs that you do eat are not stored on your butt or your lower handles as fat or lard. Okay, so first of all, eat protein. Okay, eat it as much as you can until you're full. Okay, and then top it up with other types of foods such as carbohydrates or fats. Okay, so that's an absolute big one. If you can avoid insulin spikes, you will avoid massive fat gain. Okay, so fill up on protein. Number two, I call this trick emptying your bucket. If you think of your body like a bucket, and we take that bucket and we put it into like a little trench or a pool, okay, anything that goes into the bucket itself is fine, okay? If that bucket starts to overflow and go into the pool that it's sat in, okay, all of that stuff that sits in that pool will be stored as fat. So we can use this sort of analogy to our benefit. So what I want you to do is on the day of a party night, okay, I want you to reduce what you eat that day, okay, with two things, okay? Or I want you to empty the bucket, I should say, using two methods. First of all is to eat less. So on the day of a party, don't eat quite as much, and exercise. That's basically like taking the bucket, emptying it out, and starting with an empty bucket. So when you do go into that party on a night, okay, is all you're doing is filling the bucket back up, and it's less likely to overflow and the pool that it's sat in fill up with fat. Okay, hope that makes sense. So on the day of the party, eat a little bit less, okay, and exercise once, or if you can, a couple of times to really empty that bucket. Therefore, anything that we put into the bucket on an evening, okay, it just fills the bucket and it's not going to overflow into your fat stores. Trick number 3, this has got nothing to do with hormonal control. It's just a simple trick that will still allow you to eat exactly what you want, okay, still allow you to get full, okay, but you probably won't take on board as many calories, okay. So what I want you to do is, whether you're eating at a party, you're eating at home, is use a smaller plate. So I know it sounds, uber simple, and it is, okay, but basically if you have a smaller plate, then the foods that you put on there are going to have less calories in them, so therefore you're going to have less calorie intake. Okay, the next one is to eat a little bit slower. Really slow down and enjoy your food. Most of us eat unconsciously, and we wolf it down without really thinking about it. Number 1, you're not enjoying your food. Number 2, you're not allowing your body to realise that it's full. So by eating slower, you give your body a chance to realise that it's getting full much quicker, and ultimately this will help with the digestion of your food as well. Okay, trick number 5, I call this play, then pay. Okay, basically, if you do overindulge at a party, okay, so you've got a party night coming up and you've ate a lot, okay, here's some tricks that you can use to help sort of offset that. So number 1, we've already talked about this, is before the party, leading up to the party that day, make sure that you empty the bucket. We've just gone through that. Number 2, once you've actually eaten your food that day, okay, so let's say it was Christmas Day and you've had a massive meal, around an hour and a half after that big meal, I want you to go out and do 20 minutes of light exercise. So it could literally just go and be, a walk for 20 minutes, some air squats, some press-ups against the wall, just something very light. What that does is it basically opens your muscles' floodgates and allows the nutrients for the food to go directly into your muscles versus into your fat stores, okay? So an hour and a half after your meal, 20 minutes of light exercise. The following day, so let's say that you'd been to a party night, it was a Friday night, the following day, make sure that that's a big exercise day. Your body is really primed for a lot of fat loss that day because of that leptin hormone that I talked about in the beginning of this presentation. Okay, so your body's really primed to let go of a lot of body fat. Okay, so we want to take advantage of that. Massive exercise. The other thing that you can do on that day is to eat very little or even fast. Okay, if you fast on that day and exercise, you're creating a massive calorie deficit at a time when your body's primed to let go of loads of body fat. You literally can undo all of that night's craziness, okay, in that one day. In fact, I would actually go as far as saying this: if you utilize this strategy and you did it after each party night or each heavy meal that you've had, you will actually drop an insane amount of body fat over the Christmas period versus gaining it. Okay, that is very, very powerful. If you're going on to fasting, though, obviously quite tough to stick to, because they're easy in principle, but actually doing it is quite tough, but massive positive effect in terms of fat loss. Okay, so let's sort of put all of this into context now and look at the timings of it and how it all fits together. So let's say that your party night is Friday night. Your preparation would start on the Thursday. Okay, so on the Thursday, throughout that day, we want to try to control insulin levels. And in doing that, what we want you to do is to eat high protein based meals at every meal. Okay, so let's say you're having breakfast, lunch and dinner as your main meals. You want to be eating protein at all of those. So something like an omelette for your breakfast, a chicken salad or something like that for your dinner, and on your evening meal it could be, I don't know, bolognese, okay, with vegetables and stuff. You can have a little bit of carbs in there, but the main part of your meal wants to come from protein. Okay, so make sure that we get those things in there. Okay, Friday daytime, I want you to remember to try to deplete your bucket. Okay, so what I mean by that is eat a small amount of food a day, ideally protein-based foods, and exercise at least once, if not a couple of times that day. That's going to empty that bucket, so anything that we do put in the bucket, okay, only fills the bucket, it's not going to overflow. The night of the party, eat exactly what you want, eat it slowly, enjoy it, okay, and when you get full, stop, okay? You're getting to eat all of the foods that you want and really enjoy it, and I don't want you to change that. Saturday, the day after your party night, what I want you to do is to eat very little that day. Your body is absolutely massively primed for fat burning, okay? Especially if you've been eating clean in all of the days leading up to your party night. If you've ate clean, your body is massively primed after that sort of feast day for massive fat burn. So on the following day, eat very little. Okay, ideally if you can, fast and exercise for a couple of hours that day. That's really going to have a massive and dramatic impact on the amount of fat that you lose. Okay, so let's utilize those strategies. Okay, if you do that, my guess is, okay, you will likely drop fat over Christmas versus just maintaining your body weight. Okay, very, very powerful. Okay, final notes. Number one, enjoy your food. Don't feel guilty about it. It's good to phase your diet and training sometimes. This is going to allow you to rest both physically and mentally, but ultimately be sure to get back on track as quick as possible, okay, after the festive season. Hope you found that helpful. I will see you all in the new year, okay, and have a good one. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.